Hello, what's up guys, I'm Kyle from KGR, and this console generation is so freaking weird. So today we're going to be talking about this console generation, mainly because I have no ideas what to do for a video since it's my day off, and instead of relaxing, I'm like, you know what, let's do a YouTube video. And plus, this is actually something I did want to talk about for a while. So let's get a small perspective on what this generation is like. We have the Wii U, that's where it all started with, and honestly, it is my favorite out of this generation. I know, looking at my shirt, looking at my figures and stuff, and if you see the rest of my room, it looks like I'm a Nintendo fanboy, but trust me, I do like PlayStation. Microsoft, on the other hand, I'll get into more of that later. I just like platformers. Platformers is my favorite genre, and Nintendo is just the home for that. With that being said, I still love PlayStation. Crash Bandicoot hype. Anyway, and then we eventually got the PS4 and Xbox One. And normally you would think that would just be it. We'll just get slimmer models of each of these consoles and we'll be good. However, we've gotten some more into the mix. Like, we got the PS4 Pro, which is pretty much a beefed up version of the PS4, where it can almost do 4K. And now we got the Nintendo Switch, which that's a completely new system. Whether this counts to be in this generation or next generation, I don't know. I want to say this generation because it's just simply ports. We're getting Rayman Legends port, we're now getting Mario Kart, and now we have Project Scorpio, which people honestly don't really know what it's gonna be. A lot of people think that it's just gonna be a beefed up Xbox One, I being on that boat as well. But then there's some people speculating how they may take it like the Switch, where it's gonna be a whole new thing, which I honestly don't know why people think that. I personally think it's just going to be a beefed up Xbox One and it's going to be freaking amazing. But I'm not going to pick it up. Let me know in the comments which boat do you float on. But even though this isn't the first time that we've gotten stronger iterations of a previous console, even though it's in the same generation, this is the first time we did it for home console. At least to my aware, that is the first time this is really happening. Because we've seen this before with the DS's. Like, we had a regular DS to a DS Lite, and now it's just a slimmer version. But then we got to a DSi, and that was a completely different thing. Like, it was still on the same generation, but like, it was a completely different system compared to DS Lite. It was a little bit beefier. We had cameras, we had an online store. It was so much more to it. And then now this generation, we got 3DS, and then 2DS is just a completely different remodel. And then we got the new 3DS where it's even more powerful. So yeah, this generation is not your typical generation. I do want to make a small rant. I've done this little rant in other videos before as well, but for those who just discovered my channel just in this video, I mentioned how this generation has a lot of ports from previous generations, and it honestly really irritates me. But I understand why they did it from like PS2 games to PS3 games, because the PS2's visual clarity was absolute shit. But when PS3 came out, you had at least 720p or 1080p, and it looked beautiful compared to 480i. And plus, they had it all in one disc, like a whole trilogy of games in one disc. So that was really great, plus trophy support and stuff like that. So it really had a good reason for people to replay those games. But this generation, it's games that we've been getting since PS3 and 360, except this time they're up to 1080p at 60 frames a second, which, trust me, 60 frames a second does look beautiful. But it's not a sole reason why I want to replay a game, even though I technically did buy The Last of Us Remastered, so I kind of sound like a hypocrite. But yeah, there's a lot of games. I almost want to say half the library, and I did say that in one of my rants, but in all honesty, it's not half the library, but there is a very large chunk of games that is just ports from previous generations. And honestly, I'm not too fond of that, and you see that a lot on PS4 and Xbox One, but honestly, Nintendo is guilty for that as well. Wind Waker got ported, and you could put that into a Wii and get either component cables or the Wii to HDMI and run it in 480p, and it still looks good, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, I just didn't like how they were pushing remasters too. Hell, we only got one true Legend of Zelda game on the Wii U that was new, and that ended up being like a thing to push the Switch instead of the Wii U. We got 2 HD remasters of Zelda games, and I understand at least Twilight Princess, because no one wants to play with motion controls on the Wii, and the GameCube one is stupid expensive. So it does look a bit better on the Wii U. Like, it does look cleaner, but the graphics don't age as well. While Wind Waker HD does look beautiful. But now look, we have the Switch, and now they're porting a bunch of games from the Switch, like from the Wii U to the Switch, because the Wii U wasn't very successful, and they want to try to get more money out of that, I guess. Like, they're porting Mario Kart 8, they're porting Rayman Legends to it, the Definitive Edition, which, that irritates me. I don't know what makes it definitive, because I'm not seeing too much in between the Wii U and the Switch versions. I want more of a comparison. If it really is a true difference, I might pick it up, because I don't like using the touchpad controls on the gamepad and stuff, and it's annoying. But I picked it up on the Wii U, because originally it was a Wii U exclusive, and I picked it up mainly for that. Plus, it's a Nintendo console, so I had to get it. But I love Rayman games, so of course I had to pick it up on that. But then it got ported to everything else. It got delayed and stuff, and that irritated me. But I stuck to the Wii U version. So now I kind of want to see how it plays on the Switch, but we'll see. But I mentioned earlier that I didn't get any Microsoft consoles, no Xboxes. Mainly because I'm not going to say, oh, I'm a Nintendo fanboy and PlayStation's so much better. Here's the thing, I am mainly a platformer guy, alright? And there are some other games that I play, like I play Naruto, Guitar Hero, and whatever. But there's not a lot of exclusives that I'm personally interested in on the Xbox One or 360. The only real thing that gets me interested in an Xbox One is Rare Replay. And the games that I want to play on that are N64 games. So if I really wanted an N64 game looking really good, I can buy a RGB SCART modded N64 and convert that to HDMI, and then just get an EverDrive 64 and just put all the games I want on that. So then I can stream any N64 game I want in 480p, or if it's upscaled to 720p for some dumb reason, which honestly I doubt it will be, but like, still I could play it in very good, beautiful clarity without spending a couple $100 on Xbox One, even though buying the game plus an Xbox One and then buying an N64 and EverDrive, it will probably cost just about as much, maybe even more, but I would have a much bigger library to play with. So again, I'm not going to diss on Xbox One, it's just I personally am not into those kind of games. I'm not into shooters, I'm not into racing simulators or anything, and that's what Xbox is good for. Like, they have Forza, which is apparently a good series, they have Halo, which has quite the following, and Gears, but other than that, there's not really much on there that's sucking me into it, besides the fact that my neighbors and my friend Ethan all have Xbox Ones. And my neighbors are debating on going back to Team PlayStation. And a lot of people are thinking this is going to be the last console generation. Like, they were making those kind of predictions back when the PS4 and Xbox One came out. And some of you are probably wondering what's my take on it. Honestly, I don't think it is, because technology is always evolving. Hell, 4K is going to be mainstream very soon, hopefully, and our new graphics cards, like a 1080 Ti and stuff like that, they're having a somewhat hard time pushing out 4K games at above 60 frames a second. And if they do, they gotta turn down the settings quite a bit. And 4K does look beautiful. Gaming is just going to keep evolving to get to the point where 4K 60 frames a second is just gonna be the norm. But honestly, I don't really see that until like another 2 generations, where it gets to the point like here, this generation, we're like still struggling sometimes to do 1080p 60 frames a second, which is freaking stupid. Which now with the PS4 Pro and the Project Scorpio, that's no longer gonna be an issue. But yeah, like, I don't really see until 2 generations later for it to be perfected like how it is 1080p 60 now. And with that being said, the Xbox One isn't selling very well. I don't see the Project Scorpio selling very well. And PS4 Pros, I don't think it really got any real numbers to how many they sold. And I don't really see too many people buying a PS4 Pro when you can get a regular PS4 with a game for $100 less. I'd recommend going for the upgrade, but like, the casual market is probably gonna be all like, oh, let me just save some money and just buy this system instead. Because I work at a game stand, okay? And a lot of people ask us for PS4s, but they never really ask for a PS4 Pro. Honestly, I may have had maybe 1 or 2 people ask throughout my whole 5 years working there, even though the console's only been out for a few years, but still, you get what I mean. I'm also expecting a lot of hate from this video because I'm a very cringy person, and if you have an opinion about video games, especially when it becomes a rant, when you're angry and stuff like that, you tend to get some hate sometimes. So if I'm cringe, I'm sorry. But yeah, this generation is very, very odd. And I'm expecting, obviously, PS4 is going to win this generation, no problem. But now that the Switch is out, it's been out for almost 2 months now, as of this upload. At least, I should say, after it's recording. By the time it's getting uploaded, it's probably going to be around 2 months since the thing has come out. I'm hoping that the Switch ends up selling more than Xbox One, because I know like there was like some developers that do not have any faith in it at all. And I remember I was listening to the Kinda Funny podcast, and I believe it was the developers who made the Oddworld games, at least the remastered ones, like the new and tasty and now the new game coming out. The guy hates the Switch, and I find it irritating because, I'm gonna sound like a Nintendo fanboy, but I'm being realistic here. If they are willing to develop a game on a PS Vita, and they say how the Vita has a cult following or whatever, so they know they're gonna have sales on that, the Switch, I'm pretty confident, is more powerful than the Vita. So if you can get a beefier version of a Vita game, or just a watered down version of an Xbox One game, which I know doesn't sound very good either, but like, if that could happen, if you make a Vita version, you could make a Switch version, just saying. Well, I know there's a lot more to that and stuff. I'm not going to act like I'm a developer and stuff like that, but that's just my input on it. And also, by the way, this year, when it comes to platformers, I'm so freaking happy because we got Yooka-Laylee, and even though that was a meh game, even though Breath of the Wild is not a platformer either, I'm still happy that game came out because that's pretty fucking great. We're getting Crash remasters, we're getting a new Mario game, and I don't even know what else we're getting. We're getting a bunch of other platformers this year. I'm a platformer guy, and in these past few years we haven't gotten a lot, and it kind of upsets me because those are games I'm into, so I don't end up buying a lot of games throughout the year. Hell, last year I only bought like 3 games. But this year in particular makes me really happy because we're getting a bunch of those little platformers, plus we're getting another iteration of Mario Kart, and it's just the same game, just repackaged with quite some improvements. So that's pretty much all I gotta say for this video. So if you're new and you like what you saw, you know what to do. In the description, there's my social media stuff if you want to follow all of that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love y'all to death, and I'll see y'all in the next one.